Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to discuss some reasons why you might want to think twice before making a move to Dallas, Texas. While Dallas has a lot to offer, there are some downsides that you should be aware of before you make that big move. After all, Dallas and Fort Worth have seen significant increases in population since 2020. Matter of fact, Fort Worth led the entire country in population growth in 2022. Before making that decision, watch this video so you can determine if Dallas is right for you. My name is Mike Harrison, licensed realtor right here in Texas. Let's go ahead and dive in. First, let's talk about the cost of living in Dallas, Texas. While it's not as expensive as some other major U.S. cities, the cost of living in Dallas has been steadily increasing over the past few years. This means that housing prices, utilities, and even groceries can be more expensive than in other parts of Texas. So if you're on a tight budget, you might want to consider some other options. Payscale.com shows the cost of living in Dallas to be 3% higher than the national average, primarily due to the utility prices being approximately 14% higher than the national average. Think about the Dallas heat. I'm filming this video in June, and as of today, there are excessive heat warnings all over Dallas. And so your AC is gonna have to run nonstop in your home to keep your family comfortable. Also, nerdwallet.com shows Dallas to be in the top quartile of most expensive cities in the US. Keep in mind, there's an 8.25% sales tax collected on most purchases in Dallas, with food being a big exception. State of Texas collects 6.25%, and the city of Dallas collects another 2%. 1% of what the city collects goes to our DART system, whether you use the DART train or not for transportation. Another downside to living in Dallas is the traffic and long commute times. With a growing population in Dallas, the roads and the highways have been getting very congested, especially during rush hour. This can lead to a great increase in frustration for those of us that have high blood pressure out there on the highways. Yes, I'm aware folks on the West Coast or in the Northeast will say us folks in Dallas don't really know what it's like to sit in traffic, and that may be true compared to their situations. But if you're not a fan of sitting in traffic, and especially when there are triple-digit temperatures outside, you might want to think twice about moving to Dallas. If you're visiting Dallas and want to know which areas I'm referring to, we're talking about I-30, 635, 75, and 35 as the most notorious highways for traffic congestion. Speaking of high blood pressure or increased frustration on the highways, unfortunately, Dallas has a higher crime rate than the national average. While some neighborhoods are certainly safer than others, it's essential to do your own research and be aware of the crime rate of the neighborhood you're considering moving to. Safety should always be a top priority when choosing a new place to live. There has been some recent debate here as Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson posted his strong opinion on the media's lack of coverage on his data, suggesting a positive progress or reduction in crime around Dallas since 2021. However, the Dallas Business Journal reported in April 2023 that some feel his data was skewed for political reasons. To understand what is happening with crime in Dallas, we should start in 2019. That year, murder spiked in Dallas to a level not seen in 2 decades. After Mayor Johnson won his seat in a runoff that summer, he inherited a violent crime rate that had jumped 14% year over year. In 2020, it increased to another 5%, and according to the Dallas Police Department, the city closed 2020 with 254 murders, the most since 1998. City officials were desperate. Nevertheless, the city chief of police introduced a new focused crime plan after seeing data that showed 5% of the city's grids contributed to 100% of the violent crimes. Hey, taking a quick break. If you're getting value out of this video, please go ahead and support the channel by liking and subscribing. Again, thank you so much for watching. Let's get back to the content. Dallas has made strides since the crime plan's implementation. In 2021, police recorded 222 homicides, a nearly 13% annual drop. 2022, that number fell to 214. There were 315 fewer aggravated assaults last year compared to 2021, a drop of about 5%. And since the crime has dropped, so has the number of arrests. They are down 19% since 2020, with 9,900 back then, and then almost 8,000 last year. But let's say you still want to compare Dallas's crime numbers with those in other cities. Bloomberg recently looked at the data on a per capita basis. Dallas's homicide rate is the 18th highest among the country's 50 largest cities. At 16.6 per 100,000 population, Dallas has a higher murder rate than Los Angeles, New York City, Fort Worth, and Miami. If you are considering a move to Dallas and want to visit the crime reporting further, I'll leave a link in the description below for the Dallas Business Journal article. On to the next major item to be aware of when considering Dallas, let's talk about Dallas's inconsistent weather. I've referenced the inconsistent weather in Dallas in numerous videos. Dallas is not without its weather challenges. Summers in Dallas can be scorching hot, oftentimes reaching triple digits for long periods of time. Additionally, the city is prone to severe thunderstorms and even tornadoes. If you're not a fan of extreme weather, Dallas might not be the best fit for you. Thunderstorms happen throughout the year, primarily during the spring, and although snow is somewhat rare, we had an incredibly bad snowstorm a couple of years ago that kept thousands of homeowners within a 70-mile radius at home for 4 to 5 days straight, that also cut off electricity and plumbing for many. Just an FYI, the hailstorms and weather can get so bad here, you'll have a new roofer knocking on your door every single week asking if you need a new roof or even offering you solar panels. If you're moving to Dallas, be prepared for an unpredictable weather experience. Next, let's move on to how Dallas is flat compared to other major US cities. Dallas is very flat, and in my opinion, the landscape is actually pretty boring. If you enjoy an outdoor lifestyle that includes skiing, mountain biking, or hiking, you might be a little disappointed. Thankfully, there are many lakes within Dallas that give you the chance for some water sports, but overall, Dallas and Texas overall are flat areas. So if you prefer an area with more hills or a nice outdoor scene, you might want to consider another state. There's not a whole lot I can really elaborate on this. I don't want to stretch the video out for it, but just see for yourself. Take a drive through Dallas or Fort Worth and you'll see that Dallas is a pretty flat area. Next thing to consider, let's talk about the size of Dallas. When they say everything's bigger in Texas, there's definitely some truth to that. I've said in previous videos that I felt that Dallas was one of the biggest hidden gems in the entire country, but over the last 2 to 3 years, we've definitely been found out. We are building major commercial projects all over Dallas and Fort Worth and the surrounding areas. Whether it's Universal Studios, the Fields of Frisco, or new town centers, Dallas is getting bigger commercially by the day, which means it can feel like it takes an hour to get anywhere around Dallas. The city and its suburbs are so spread out that a simple drive from Dallas to Fort Worth or Dallas to Plano or Frisco can easily take between 30 minutes to an hour, if not longer. This can turn into a daily issue if you live in one of the suburbs and need to commute to downtown Dallas every day for a job, or if you have several kids that are in extracurricular activities and they all need to be in 2 to 3 separate areas of Dallas. And the next thing to seriously consider is if you're like me and just the thought of going outside causes you to get bit by mosquitoes, then you're 100% going to have a mosquito and allergy problem in Dallas. Off or other insect repellent sprays will be your best friend here in Dallas, especially during the summertime. And be prepared, if you don't hire a pest control service, you'll need to add spraying your yard for mosquitoes to your monthly maintenance to-dos. My son Jackson is following right in my footsteps because unfortunately the kid can't go outside for 1 minute without getting eaten up. It's so bad here you'll want to expect weekly solicitors at your door from one of the many pest control services talking about how they're different from the rest. All right, so lastly, we haven't talked politics on this channel before, but we'll lightly address them here. Texas is still a pretty red state, and we've had folks relocate from all over the US and oftentimes from liberal states. So I just want to make sure that there's no culture shock when folks from a liberal state or a blue state come to Dallas. More areas of the Dallas metro are starting to lean blue, but generally speaking, DFW is still a red area. We love our guns here, major advocates of free speech, and we still hold on to many conservative values. My personal belief is that Dallas is pretty inclusive of folks from all walks of life and differences of political beliefs, but just be aware the further out of Dallas you move and the more rural of a suburb you choose, the more likely you're going to be in an area that leans further red. So again, before deciding to move to Dallas or its suburbs, just be aware that you're moving to an area that's still a pretty proud Republican metroplex. So guys, this is going to close us out on the things you should know before moving to Dallas, Texas. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Go ahead and hit subscribe, support the channel, and if you want to know more about a great North Texas suburb that's growing daily, click this video here.